So Apple put out its quarter after hours. The market seems to like it. I'm not so sold. In fact, not at all. I'm definitely not an Apple fanboy like so many people are on TV. Um, Almost to a fault. I might be a little bit too negative, but I have my reasons, and I try and base them on fact. But I really think their days of super innovation are slowing down. So just look at the numbers in the quarter. We have the graphic there for you to look at. Revenue was up 1%, and earnings per share were actually down 6.8%. Both were a beat, but barely on the revenue line by zero point 0.7, and a little bit better on the earnings per share of 4.1. But they said two things that really kind of made it even worse is that service revenue was 11.5 billion versus 11.9 expectations. So I mean, 11 billion was good. It was growth, but it didn't meet expectations, and neither did the iPhone sales, which this company is really truly iPhone sales. 25 billion of that 53 billion is iPhone sales, and that's kind of coming to an end, really. Like look, they're not going down the tubes or anything like that, but it's really hard to be innovative. That's kind of obvious. Everybody knows this. It's hard to get ahead of that curve at this point. I just don't see it. The next release, not a big deal. I think 5G is going to help them, but that's going to help everybody. I don't see Apple's distinct advantage anymore. Okay, it gets a little worse. Let's look at our model in our world here, and you'll see return on capital has literally been sliding for that looks like 6-7 years actually. Its best days were actually 2012. They've done some good things. I got to give them a lot of credit. They've done a lot of buybacks. So shares went from back in 2011, 6.5 billion down to 4.6 billion today. So that's, that helps support your shares even when your return on capital is going down, but your earnings per share, your EBITDA per share, whatever, it can continue to rise, and that's certainly helped, no question about it. And I think it's the right thing to do when you have too much capital, and they really do have too much capital. They do have too much cash. It's not quite accurate in our model, and I would say would make it look better, but it's not easy to correct, is we show them a 52 billion in working capital. It's actually higher. There's a line item, I'll show it to you. Let's do it that way. On the balance sheet, that is essentially cash, but it's called investments and advances, and it's not a short term. It's not carried on the books as a short term asset, which really maybe it should be. So here it is right here. 145 billion of investments and advances is a non-current asset. So that's really all the money they have overseas. That's not easy to repatriate without taxes. So I do think that might be hurting the returns a bit, because the way we calculate it, we would rather, if that was a short-term asset, we would consider that working capital, and then it would be kind of like salvage value. Whereas this is kind of just like investment, like a true investment, where it's not really. So I do think return on capital could go a little higher. So I would say, now look, our valuation looks obviously like it's way overvalued. But I don't think that's quite true. As I said, I do think returns are slightly too low. So let's bump them up to 18. And yeah, there we go. That's starting to make more sense. We're still a little bit below. They could still beat the fade. So look, it's not, like I said, it's not completely dire here, but it's also not a screaming buy. So let's just say, I just want to call it the way I see it is. I think, the super innovation days are kind of behind them, where they're just coming out with amazing products every single release. That's certainly not happening. Quarters are not blowing you away. In fact, there's zero growth there, essentially. And that's where you're at. So, it's back to being just a normal company, a massive but normal company, earning normal returns, putting out normal products, and making normal margins. That's all you got. So I wouldn't say it's horrible, but it's not super exciting either. Thank you for watching our investment video. This is the same analysis we provide to our institutional clients. Want to improve your portfolio? Simply subscribe to our YouTube channel below, or better yet, go to our video website at video.fsavaluation.com and get access to the entire library.